Hey, history crew, Mr. Dearmon here, and today we're starting with Unit 9, the Civil War. Specifically, Unit 9A, the causes of the Civil War. Now imagine a group project where nobody agrees on the rules. One person says, we need one leader. Another person says, nope, each person decides. Then someone says, also, we're adding new people to the group, and we can't agree on what rules they should follow. Well, that's basically what was happening in the United States in the 1860s. Here's the big idea for Unit 9, slavery, and especially the question of slavery expanding into the new territories that became the main issue that divided the nation. It wasn't only the disagreement, but it was the biggest one, and it was connected to lots of other arguments. So what were Americans arguing about? Well, first, there were conflicting views about the power of the federal or national government. Many people in the North believed that the national government should be strong and that federal law should be the highest law. Now, many people in the South emphasized states' rights, meaning states could be able to reject federal laws that they didn't like. That disagreement made compromise much harder. Secondly, the North and the South had different economies, which added to the tension. The North had more industry and manufacturing and often supported things like higher tariffs, which are taxes put on things that are brought into the country or leaving the country, generally speaking. The South relied more on agriculture, especially cash crops like cotton, and they had enslaved labor. Southern leaders worried that if slavery ended or couldn't expand, it would change or even ruin their economy completely. But the biggest question kept coming back again and again. When the U.S. gained more territory, as we talked about in last unit, would slavery be allowed in the new territories? To avoid conflict, the country tried several compromises, but each one created more tension. Here's a quick timeline you need to know. The Missouri Compromise of 1820. A line was drawn in the Louisiana Territory, and north of the line, slavery was banned, except in Missouri. That was an early attempt to balance free and slave states. Then the Compromise of 1850. California entered as a free state, but the government in turn strengthened the fugitive slave law. So one side gained something and then the other side gained something, but it felt like both sides were losing and still got angrier. Next was the Nebraska Act of 1854. This introduced popular sovereignty, which means the people living in a territory get to vote to decide if slavery is allowed. It sounds simple, but it led to violence in an event called Bleeding Kansas. Next, the Dred decision in 1857. The Supreme Court ruled that enslaved people were property and had no legal rights as citizens. Of course, this made tensions even worse. Then came the breaking point. Lincoln was elected on an anti-slavery expansion platform of the new Republican Party, and many Southern states believed this threatened slavery's future. So Southern states began to secede, meaning they left the United States, or the Union as it's called, and they formed the Confederate States of America with Jefferson Davis as president. Finally, the Civil War began when Confederate forces fired on Fort Sumter in South Carolina in April of 1861. So here's some memorization help. Remember, miserable 50 cans are dreadfully linked. Miserable, meaning the Missouri Compromise. 50, meaning the Compromise of 1850. Cans, the Kansas-Nebraska Act. And dreadfully, Dred Scott decision. Finally, linked, or Lincoln wins the presidency. Another one you can remember is PES, PES. P, power, federal versus state power, states' rights versus federal rights. E, economy, North industry versus South plantation agriculture. S, slavery expansion, new territories equals questions over which territories become slave and which one become anti-slave. And that was one of the biggest dividers. You could even think of it as PES, what made the U.S. a mess. Hey, I'm doing the best I can here. Here's some questions for thought, and even go ahead and pause the video if you need to discuss with the class. How did the slavery question hurt national unity even before the war began? Why did Southern states choose to secede after Lincoln's election? That's it for now, but we'll see you at the next video, and don't forget to keep learning. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video with others. And if you're a teacher, go ahead to the Teachers Pay Teachers link in the comments in the description to get the worksheets and other information that you can use in class. Hey, did you know that Abraham Lincoln only grew his beard because a young girl suggested it to him and said he wasn't being taken this seriously because he didn't have a beard? Kid you not. It's true. It's true.